Queen Elizabeth, back when she was Princess Elizabeth, was only 13 when World War II began in 1939. Buckingham Palace had gotten bombed 9 times throughout the war, and the royal family stayed put, refusing to flee to safer places like America. When Elizabeth turned 18 in 1944, she enlisted in the British Army against the wishes of her father King George. She joined the Women's Auxiliary Territorial Service as a junior officer where she learned to tear down and rebuild motors and drive large trucks. She enjoyed getting dirt under her fingernails and showing it off to her friends. By war's end, she reached the rank of junior commander. 7 years later in 1952, King George had died and the princess became Queen Elizabeth, reigning from 1952 till her death in 2022, just over 70 years. Paul Shafer is one of the worst humans to have ever lived, because it's so rare that you get to describe anyone as a one-eyed Nazi pedophile Santa-murdering torture-loving cult leader. Bear with me here. Nazi Paul Shafer fled to South America after World War II, running Chilean nuns off their land and setting up a camp that his followers couldn't leave. He started an orphanage and separated the already established children from their parents. He was a proper cult leader, forbidding contact from the outside world. In Colonia Dignidad one December, when the cult's children started to get excited about the imminent arrival of Santa Claus, Shafer asked one of his followers to dress up as Santa and visit the gathered children. Shafer then drew a pistol and shot Santa, who collapsed into the river and sunk below the surface. As far as the children knew, this bastard murdered the real Santa. They were now free to worship their leader instead of being excited about Christmas. Oh yeah, he also lost an eye to a fork, which he claimed had been from being shot in the eye, as if. How many American civilians died in World War II on US soil? 6. During World War II the Japanese would manufacture 9,000 Fugo balloon bombs over a 5-month period and launch them into high-altitude winds aimed at the United States. An estimated 1,000 of them reached the continent with about 285 reported incidents. On May 5, 1945, Elsie Mitchell and 5 neighborhood kids were trying to drag a balloon bomb out of the woods, not knowing that it was an armed bomb. It exploded and Elsie Mitchell and the 5 children became the only known victims of World War II on US soil. The tallest German soldier captured by a 5'3" Canadian. At 7'3" tall, Jakob Nacken was a German circus performer traveling in Europe and the United States. He wore a size 17 boot and had bruises on his head from hitting doorways. At the start of World War II, he returned to Germany and was immediately drafted into the German army, the tallest soldier on record. He was placed into a 250-man gun crew that were all captured by a Canadian force of 7 men, headed by Corporal Eldon Bob Roberts, who was 5'3". Nacken and the rest of the 250 were taken back to England as prisoners of war until the end of World War II. He would return to circus performing in the States, dying at age 81. We all know one of the best stories bar none, from both World War I and World War II is that the United States used Native Americans to speak their own language as an unbreakable code that could not be cracked. If not, seriously look it up. They were called wind talkers and hold a huge credit for helping win the war. But did you know that the Iroquois Confederacy personally declared war on Germany? After World War I the Nazis, knowing they were going to go to war again, were terrified of the wind talkers, so much so that actual Nazis visited Native American reservations within the states posing as anthropologists and photographers. They would try to learn the language. They would liken native symbols to a swastika. They started to call the natives Aryans. The natives would uncover their plans. Feeling manipulated, they enlisted in droves, calling Adolf Hitler man who smells mustache, and Mussolini was gourd chin. The Lakota Sioux joined the Iroquois and declared war on Germany, and the rest is pretty much history. Native numbers in World War II amounted to around 44,000 and at least 27 tribes were used as code talkers. There is a famous Navajo saying, "Less thunder in the mouth, more lightning in the hands." Perhaps their pre-war visitors should have paid more attention. If this is of interest to you, might I suggest this video next?